welcome to Nothing Ever Happens in Canada, but we know this is simply not true. I'm Canadian Girl. Thanks for joining me today. This is a Canadian podcast about the myths, legends, and just good old stories Canada has to tell. Since this is a Canadian podcast, I thought no better way to celebrate Canada Day, which is just a couple days away, than to release a bonus episode. We're going to look at a little bit of history that made Canada Day what it is today. We'll look at places around the world you can celebrate Canada Day if you're not able to be in Canada for this wonderful day. We'll also look at popular and lesser known celebrations that have taken place on past Canada Days and look at a few records that have been broken on Canada's birthday, as it seems this is something we like to do to celebrate our country and how proud we are to be a part of it. Join me now as we celebrate for Canada's 152nd birthday on July 1st. So the story goes, back in 1867, what was then known as Upper Canada and Lower Canada came together and joined on July 1st, which essentially brought the provinces we know today as Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Ontario, and Quebec together, thanks to the Constitution Act. Of course, we all know Canada has been around much longer than 1867, but for the sake of this story, this is where they say it started. I'm not going to get into a big history lesson. There are plenty of podcasts that can do a way better job than I can. Plus, we're here to celebrate Canada Day. I'm just going to point out some facts that make sense when needed. I bet you're wondering where the rest of the provinces and the territories at this time were. Well, you could say they were a little hesitant. Manitoba and the Northwest Territories joined in 1870. BC would join the next year, in 1871. Prince Edward Island would come next a couple years later in 1873. The Yukon would join in 1898. Alberta and Saskatchewan would then come in 1905. Newfoundland and Labrador did not join until 1949. Last but not least, Nunavut, in 1999, when it split apart from the Northwest Territories and made its own territory. That makes 10 provinces, 3 territories, and we have 3 oceans. As of 2018, we are sitting at a population of 37 million people and a landmass of 9,984,670 kilometers squared. That's the second largest country in the world, next to Russia. But let's go back a bit before we get too far ahead. Canada Day was originally called Dominion Day, which was established in 1879. On May 1st that same year, Dominion Day was made a stat holiday. Most Canadians at the time still considered themselves to be British, or they were Indigenous. Either way, no one really felt Canadian at the time, like we do today, so there really wasn't much celebration. It wasn't until 1917, when the 50th anniversary of Dominion Day rolled around, that it really started to catch on. The first big celebration was held that year at the Parliament buildings in Ottawa, which were still under construction at the time. The buildings were dedicated to the Fathers of Confederation on that day. The next big celebration would take place on the 60th anniversary of Canada in 1927. The Peace Tower Carillon was introduced at Parliament, which is the fancy clock tower that still stands today at Parliament Hill. Some interesting facts I found. We have more freshwater lakes than any country in the world. They cover 1,169,561 kilometers square, which takes up 11.7% of our country. And I know you're like, Canadian Girl, we already know you guys have all the water. But even cooler, and something I did not realize, we have the longest coastline in the world at 243,976 kilometers. For my American friends, that's over 151,000 miles. So next time you want to head to the beach, think Canada, right? And you know what goes great with the lake or the beach? Beer. And on this Canada Day weekend alone, we consume over 1.2 million liters of it. And that's only what's reported from government sales. So I'm going to say we definitely drink a little bit more than that. Famous Canadians celebrating their birthday with Canada and possibly adding to the total amount of liters of beer consumed this holiday weekend, our very own Ghostbuster, Dan Aykroyd, and our famous Lady of the Beach, Pamela Anderson. Around 1946, a bill was put forth to change the name of Dominion Day to the National Holiday of Canada. As you can tell, that bill never actually passed. But what I can tell you is a vote was passed on October 27, 1982, to officially change the name to Canada Day once and for all, as it was the name that had already started being used by the public, and now it was official. Parliament closed up, it is said, and took the afternoon off, of course, to have some beer after that tough vote. Cheers, everybody. Since the 1950s, Detroit, Michigan, and Windsor, Ontario have a joint festival known as the International Freedom Festival, in which they combine celebrations for Canada Day and Independence Day, even putting on a fireworks show display over the Detroit River, which is the only thing that separates the two by less than half a mile or just less than a kilometer. These two are very close, and I thought it was so cool that they shared these holidays together. In 1958, we really began to celebrate. Canadian Prime Minister at the time, John Diefenbaker, requested the Secretary of State, Ellen Fairdeau, to put together an event with a budget of $14,000, which in today's money is almost $125,000. So yeah, they were definitely having a party. In 1964, we really started to feel like this was our home, so Parliament put out the call to all Canadians to help design their country's flag. They would receive just over 3,500 submissions. 400 of those submissions left us with an almost 9% chance of having, wait for it, a beaver on it. Of all the creatures here in Canada that we could pick as our mascot, and we're going with the beaver. The dude who messes up trees and waterways everywhere. I'm just teasing. Not about the beaver, but about its significance. Though I have not done my research, if I had to guess, the value of the beaver and its pelt were worth a lot more in the eyes of my fellow Canadians back then, and he is our national animal. There was even one submission that was so creepy, it was a picture of the Beatles, but just their heads floating, almost ghost-like, and it's said to be surrounded by fleur-de-lis, which are a symbol commonly used in French culture. The good news is, we all know who won. Our pretty little red and white flag with the bright red maple leaf in the middle, designed by George Stanley, who was inspired by the Royal Military College of Canada's flag. I'm sure glad it did win. I happen to really like our flag, so thank you, George. In 1967, after many changes and corrections, O Canada was officially named our country's national anthem, and we haven't stopped singing it ever since. What you may not know is it was originally written in French. 1967 was also a very special year. It was Canada's 100th birthday. Patriotism was growing in the country and people were out to celebrate. There were parades, fireworks, festivals, and more than there had ever been across Canada before. A high-profile ceremony would be set up July 1st on Parliament Hill in Ottawa for the 100th birthday, as Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II would be showing up. This was a royal birthday celebration indeed. She would not return again until 2010 with His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh to celebrate the 143rd birthday of Canada. In other parts of Canada, they decided to celebrate Canada's 100th birthday in other ways. In good old BC, the folks on the island, in particular Nanaimo, they decided to go on a 58-kilometer race across the George Strait to Vancouver in, any guesses? You'd think a boat or something, right? It's 58 kilometers, 36 miles across the strait. They did it in bathtubs, made into motorboats, and the event was such a hit, it's now an annual event. In St. Paul, Alberta, a small town about 200 kilometers northeast of Edmonton, you want to know what they were up to for Canada's 100th birthday? They built the world's first UFO landing pad. I kid you not, it even has a time capsule hidden in the structure to be removed on Canada's 200th birthday in 2067. I'm not sure how many landings have taken place at the pad since it opened, but aliens, if you're out there and you're listening, We got you up here in Canada. If you've been looking for a spot to land all this time, just come to northern Alberta. They have the perfect spot. We get so excited for Canada Day, we have holidays the week before celebrating other Canadian milestones leading up to our big day. Starting on the summer solstice, we celebrate Indigenous Day on June the 21st. On June the 24th, the French celebrate Jean the Baptiste Day. He was a saint. On June the 27th, it is known as Canadian Multiculturalism Day, which was created in 2002 to celebrate the country's diversity. We also like to name some of our towns after very Canadian names. There's Beaver, Newfoundland, Beerville, New Brunswick, because you know how much we like our beer, Maple Leaf, PEI, Le Petit Canada, Quebec, the Maples, Ontario, and Canoe, BC. And there's also a Beaver Lodge in the Northwest Territories. Some more interesting facts I found. We have mountains, grasslands, many different types of forests, rivers, lakes, Arctic tundra, drylands, and wetlands, making us one of the most beautifully diverse landscapes in the world. We have the world's largest freshwater island. It's on Lake Huron, and it's Manitoulin. We have over 47 million trees tapped for maple syrup as of 2016, because you know how much we like our maple syrup. And if you haven't, please go listen to episode 12. It is very, very interesting. We spend about $287 a year per household on cheese, $63 on bacon, $43 on potatoes, and $10 on ketchup. And if you're Canadian, you should be buying French's, as it's our very own ketchup and delicious. Sorry, Heinz. And our beloved coffee and tea, we spend about $163 a year. We've grown 10 times since the first census was done after we joined together as Canada. In 1871, we had a population of about 3.5 million. In 2016, we reported 35.2 million. In 2013, 90% of people reported a strong sense of belonging to Canada. Last but not least, Canada Day is smack dab in the middle of the year pretty much. It is day number 182, and then there are only 183 days left in the year. Let's go on a little tour around Canada and check out some of the celebrations that you can be a part of if they happen to be in your area. To the East Coast first. Charlottetown, PEI hosts the Big Red Music Festival, complete with carnival, vendors, child-friendly areas, and even wagon rides. Then stay for the show. It's known to have one of the largest fireworks displays in Canada on this day. Dartmouth and Halifax, Nova Scotia are said to be the third biggest parties all day across the country, with 2 pancake breakfasts, a parade, events, and live free concerts around downtown. There is even a family fun fest held on the Commons, which are popular parks in the area of downtown Halifax and Dartmouth. Of course, there are fireworks at night at the Halifax Harbor, followed by live music until midnight. Be one of the very first people to celebrate Canada Day at Signal Hill in St. John, Newfoundland. People meet at 6 a.m. for a brisk and beautiful sunrise to celebrate. The party continues until 10 p.m. with family fun, fireworks, and more. Fredericton, New Brunswick offers family-friendly onstage entertainment at Officers Square and a second stage at Barracks Square. Vendors, local artists, food, and fireworks. New Brunswick's biggest celebration on this day happens in Moncton. Their celebration, known as Whoa Canada, hosts events all day, family-friendly entertainment, a 4-hour Canada Day concert on Main Street, followed by fireworks that are held in a riverfront park. In Montreal, Quebec this year, they are planning a drumming celebration, hoping to achieve the largest group drum roll across multiple venues, parks, and schools across the city. The drum roll will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and continue for 5 minutes if you want to be a part of the event. Also in the city, you will find children's games, street entertainment, and fireworks. Toronto, Ontario puts on an amazing multicultural celebration, display of art, food, clothing, dance, and more from all around the world. They are the only people in Canada that I am aware of, so do correct me if I am wrong. that puts on a Canada Day Eve fireworks show, as well as a Canada Day fireworks show. Top-level entertainment, concerts, and Canadian talent can be found all over the city. It's pretty close to being Canada's biggest celebration across the country every year. Niagara Falls, Ontario is famous for its laser light show and fireworks display at the falls on this day. And like Toronto, it's full of entertainment, concerts, and Canadian talent all day and night. Boissevain, Manitoba, I hope I said that right, celebrates Canada Day with a car show, art show, a very popular parade in the afternoon, a children's carnival, and fireworks. Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the heart of downtown, you'll find family-friendly fun. The Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra has played many times before. A Canada Day run of 1 kilometer and 5 kilometers is held, and all who participate will receive a Canada Day medal and, of course, fireworks. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, celebrate Canada Day with the sounds of jazz, blues, pop, and world music at the Saskatelle Jazz Festival. There will also be family-friendly activities, buffet breakfast with cake, food vendors, a marketplace, and fireworks in Diefenbaker Park, which is named after the Prime Minister who set the first budget of $14,000 to throw a party for Canada Day back in 1958. Calgary, Alberta, the Canada Day event is said to be one of the most highly attended events in the city all year round, with 100,000 people making their way towards Shaw's Millennium Park main stage for live performances all day. Vendors, food, art, kids zones, and fireworks are all held in the downtown area. Jasper, Alberta holds the I Love Canada event, has a very popular pancake breakfast, parade, often concerts, beer gardens, museum displays, games for kids, historic walking tours, and fireworks. Vancouver, BC holds the claim for being the largest Canada Day celebration every year. More than 350,000 people head towards Canada Place in downtown Vancouver for live music, entertainment. 3 stages are set up, food from all over the world, a celebration of Canadian inventors, an extreme sports show, parade, and fireworks. Victoria, BC has a 2-day festival that's family-friendly, music, entertainment, vendors, art, and an international food village, and, of course, fireworks in the Inner Harbor. Bakersville, BC claims to have had the very first Canada Day celebration, known as Dominion Day. The pioneer town will take you back to the good old days so you can enjoy how Dominion Day was celebrated back then. Yellowknife, Northwest Territories has a parade, all-day events of entertainment, anything from face painting to chair massages. And on a more serious note, they celebrate opening ceremonies, reaffirmation ceremonies, the citizenship oath is repeated to express commitment to Canada, and they sing the national anthem. Every Canada Day, us Canadians like to do things where we try to break world records. Of course, we do this on other days of the year too, but for some reason, we love breaking world records on Canada's birthday. It does make events like this easy to organize, having so many people out at once in the same place. During Canada's 150th birthday in 2017, let's just say we went a little crazy with this. For starters, Parks Canada gave us all free admission to all provincial and national parks across the country for the whole year. And I can tell you firsthand, out here in the Rocky Mountains of Canada that year, it was insane. I have truly never seen the park so busy here. I actually wanted to leave. They were so busy. But let's look at some of these records we smashed to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday. In Vancouver, BC, 1,589 people went to the top of Grouse Mountain in their red shirts and stood together on top of the mountain to form the largest human maple leaf. Ottawa, Ontario had one of the largest scavenger hunts. Over 2,700 people participated. There were 150 tasks to complete throughout the city. At the end of the day, over 31,000 pictures were posted and tagged on Instagram with the hashtag Find150 to celebrate the event. Great Wolf Lodge, a family water park and hotel complex in Niagara Falls, Ontario, broke the record for the most people howling in one place. 803 people stood around the water park howling like wolves in honor of Canada's big day. That would have truly been very interesting to hear and see. But let's go back to 2016 for a tiny second to look at September 6th. Inspired by Canada's upcoming 150th birthday, a company in Waterloo, Canada called the Institute for Quantum Computing has created the world's smallest national flag at less than the width of a human hair at just 0.6972 micrometers, made on a silicone wafer in the Institute's Quantum Nanolab facility. It must be viewed with an electronic microscope, and color has been added in a very scientific way that I cannot explain, but it allows the flag to have a red hue in the end. There is a fascinating YouTube video that shows the whole process. I will of course include a link below. In 2018, we decided, what about the world's largest flag? Toronto, Ontario's Legoland Discovery Centre did just that to celebrate Canada's birthday. The Lego brick flag was 248,072 pieces. It was 3.4 meters or 11 feet 7 inches tall and 6.46 meters or 21 feet wide. It took 10 builders over 4 days to construct. So yeah, we have the smallest flag in the world and the largest Lego flag in the world. And these are just some of the Canada Day records. There's eating contests, racing events, and so much more held across the country each year on Canada Day. Records are always being broken. Alright, I hope you brought your passport because we're off to celebrate Canada Day around the world. Because if you can't be here in Canada on this amazing day, I'm going to let you know where you can go. First up, Hong Kong. They have a Canada Day, which is spelled D''EA, annual celebration that takes place on June 30th in Hong Kong at Lan Kwai Fong. I hope I say these somewhat close. The party is said to see over 20,000 people each year. In China, Canada Day celebrations are held at Bund Beach by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai, and there is an event at the Canadian International School in Beijing held by the China Business Council. They host a night of networking, cocktails specializing in Canadian flavors. I wish they would tell us what they were. Also including maple syrup goodies and more northern snacks. Sometimes Canadian DJs or a band are present. This place in Japan, which has a name that I am going to sound like I'm swearing saying, but I'm going to try. Fuck you, Japan. It is a busy coastal city and hosts Japan's largest and wildest Canucks celebration. Bangkok, Thailand has a kid-friendly Canadian Day themed party at the local British club. There are three-legged races, bouncing castles, magicians, a ball hockey tournament, and a traditional backyard barbecue feast at the end of the day for all. In Melbourne, Australia, they have a hockey night held in June known as the Canada Day Classic. At the O'Brien Group Arena, the Melbourne Ice versus the Sydney Bears, which have quite the rivalry, and the Sydney Bears have won the last 3 years. They also do a teddy bear toss. In Dubai, the UAE, it is home to more than 40,000 Canadians. Toronto has opened their eatery known as the West Lodge Saloon. They host a Canada Day party with a true northern 4-course menu. In London, the royal family turns London's Trafalgar Square for 12 hours into the most Canadian spot to celebrate with concerts, cooking demos, and an epic street hockey tournament, also serving Timbits and maple treats. There is also a Maple Leaf pub that can be found in London. The annual party here is said to be legendary from any true Canadian that's been. In Wales, UK, if you are a Canadian on July the 1st, head to either Welshpool or Landfair Light Railways and just show your passport for a free 26-kilometer round trip through the Welsh countryside with Canadian-themed train cars and giveaways. Paris, France, head over to the Great Canadian Pub, decked out in sports memorabilia and the best part, Molson Canadian beer on tap. Sounds amazing. Ireland in country Monaghan, again I hope I'm saying this right, a weekend-long festival that focuses on the island's Prince Edward Island connections. Prince Edward Island is home to the most concentrated population of Monaghan descendants outside of Ireland. There are walking tours, bus trips, historic sites, and pub visits. The Canadian Armed Forces has events in Afghanistan and Mexico. In New York City, when the sun sets on the first day of July, the Empire State Building glows red and white. In Houston, Texas, head to the Maple Leaf Pub on Canada Day to enjoy a free Texas-style barbecue and an outdoor ball hockey tournament. And finally, if you're in Redondo Beach, California, head to the Canadian Infused Cafe on the beach. They have a Canada Day family party, games, giveaways. The place is actually owned by a Canadian. Menu items include Montreal smoked meat sandwiches, poutine, which was voted LA's best by Time Out Los Angeles, and they have Tim Hortons coffee. Thanks for coming along on this very Canadian adventure today. I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode to celebrate this land that I love so much, and I know you do too, or you wouldn't be here right now hanging out with this little Canadian podcast. To my American friends and listeners, I know your Independence Day comes right after, and I wish you guys all a wonderful day too. And for everybody else from around the world, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope the day that you celebrate is fabulous as well. And if I missed a Canada Day celebration or just anything Canada Day related, please let me know. I'd love to include it in a future episode. To my fellow Canadians, the only requirement for this day is that you wear red and white and show your absolute pride for this wonderful place that we get to call home. If you don't have plans, you can just go outside, visit a park, take a hike on a trail, visit an art gallery, the museum, go fishing, rafting, canoeing. Just please get out of your house and enjoy this beautiful country that we get to call home. We are blessed to be Canadian, and I don't ever take that for granted. We live in one of the freest, happiest countries in the world, and if that's not worth celebrating, then I don't know what is. Happy birthday, Canada. Another year around the sun, and you're still absolutely beautiful. And I'm your girl. Until next time, my friends. Happy 152nd birthday, Canada. Want to help support the show? You can do that in 3 simple ways. The first one, you can leave us a shiny 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This small gesture means so much to this podcast as it allows us to move around on the podcast charts and meet more awesome listeners like you.